So recently, after the NIO phone launch, NIO CEO was questioned about incompetency, incompetent management, and incompetent people in general, and if that's the problem with NIO right now. And he was also questioned with if NIO was being sidetracked, wasting money, burning a ton of money, and focusing and doing everything themselves, wasting money on that. These are all heavy hitting questions, and he answered them brilliantly, and this reassures investors. So, first of all, someone asked, is the biggest problem with NIO the people? Man, this question. And this is what he said. He said, we definitely have systematic changes that need to be made. There's also people adjustments to be made, structural changes as well, and changes according to capabilities. We believe there's still lots of improvements to be done on our capabilities of our team. When it comes to some critical areas and our capabilities regarding it, we need drastic improvement, whether it's individually or as a team. We won't simply think that a problem is due to an individual person. We would think it's a group team capability problem. Work hard to compensate for those capability weaknesses, reflect and improve on them. Of course, there may be some compulsory staffing changes and team adjustments, and those will obviously be done. But we believe this is not the main reason. We have our own definition and metric for this. Find our own problems, and there are many areas that need improvement. However, the areas that everyone thinks needs improvement is quite different from what actually needs improvement. So that was one of the tough questions. And then someone asked, the heavy hitter, is NIO being sidetracked, wasting money, burning too much money? We all want to know the question about this. Why are they even building a phone and getting sidetracked? And this is what he said. He said, we want everyone to understand that the priority is deep integration, including us building phones today. It's not to make phones our main business. No, it's not this logic. We understand clearly that we want to build a phone that elevates the user experience of our NIO owners. The core of it all is still the car, our intelligent EV. And even with this, our car, it's not that we do absolutely everything ourselves. We have over 300 partners with deep collaboration on the R&D front. We also invested in over 80 companies and 50 universities for research projects. With this layout, it's not like we do everything ourselves. Even for car making, it's done with heavy collaboration, so our level of openness is quite high compared to peers. So there's a massive misunderstanding. We are actually very focused. We want everyone to rest assured that we know very clearly our business limits. We also know very clearly our resource limits. We will stay focused on putting our attention on R&D, infrastructure, and service. We won't enter anything that has nothing to do with our core business. Alright, now it's my take on things. First of all, criticizing management. You guys really like to criticize management, like to say, oh, fire management, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to give two sides to this argument. First of all, what he's saying really reassures me to some extent that they know what they're doing, and they know how much to spend and how much not to spend, and they know the limits of their core business as well, and they know where the R&D money is going. However, on the other side of it, this comes after Expo fired 10 of their 12 senior management people, and I think NIO, even though I hope this doesn't happen, NIO may need to do some adjustments for the interest of shareholders, to benefit shareholders and creating shareholder value. This is the problem. Right now, all right, CEO is also the CTO, but How is it in any shareholder's best interest to not plan for a single motor variant of the ET5 or the ET5T? To essentially be able to offer entry variant of this car, make it cheaper, and also compete with the likes of BMW i3 and Zeekr 001, etc. Which, if you see my deliveries videos, you would know that ET5 and ET5T combined do not even beat those competitors in terms of deliveries. So that is a fumble in my opinion. And speaking of fumbling, NIO really fumbled the ET5 launch. When it was launched, it was such a hot product. We all thought this was going to change the company forever. However, they botched it all. First, with the quality control aspect of the car. I mean, the first batch of cars had big quality problems. How did it even pass QC? Who was responsible for QC for this car? How did he sign it off? And this really had an after effect with customers just not wanting to get the car anymore because of the quality problems. And also, how was it so slow to ramp up? I mean, people were waiting so desperately for the car. They wanted it. They loved the car. People were lining up to check the car. How did they fumble this all up, botched it all up? Right now, the deliveries for the ET5 and ET5T absolutely abysmal compared to its competitors. Luckily for us, NIO has essentially fixed these mistakes for the launch of the cars this year in 2023. However, the damage done to the ET5 is irreversible, and you can see that in those delivery numbers. When it comes to staffing changes, I think it's very nice for NIO CEO to think more of the core problem of the capabilities of the team instead of an individual person and pointing blame at the individual person. But he did mention that, of course, if need be, then that person will be fired. However, I think that we haven't reached that critical moment yet where they're very cash conscious about everything that they're spending on. So I think we might get to a point in the future where to be efficient, there needs to be a lot of jobs and people let go, redundant jobs essentially, and that will actually boost shareholder value as well. What you want is a lean team that's efficient and not an overcrowded team that's unproductive. I mean, back in 2019 when NIO was in crisis mode, NIO pretty much let go of non-essential personnel, and that really formed a lean team, and that really helped them become successful in the future because people were in that survival mode. They were at their best and mistakes were absolutely not tolerated. We need that kind of stringent thinking and approach so that NIO doesn't have to rely on constant dilutions to get their money to fund their projects. Comment down below if you agree with me.